There we go. Hello. I think we are live now. Cool. Okay. Hello and welcome. Let me just check that the chat is working. If I can type. Cool. And I just want to let my 1 out of 2 subscribers know that we are starting. Okay, just like the title suggests, this live is just going to be a kind of write with me session, 1 hour. I have notes and an outline of notes, whatever, for this chapter. And I'm going to be working from that. Basically, wow, the lighting in here is so weird. This I have not done a live session of so far. Last week I did a session where I worked on editing through a different draft of a fantasy story that I have that I haven't looked at it for a long time. But that was just editing. This is more going to be drafting. This is this new idea that I have lately been working with. And I have an entire outline of it, but things have been changing. This is kind of the way that I write when I work on long narratives, is that I do like to outline, but then leave it open for things to change, and things always change. I don't know, in my experience, the story does what it does, the characters do what they do, and you kind of, it's like writing and discovering at the same time. So, with that said, you can see on the side here, I've got like these chapters in different formats so that I can kind of figure out where I am in the draft. I outlined this chapter 4 as the chapter 3, but then I kind of figured out that I was doing this weird thing where I was introducing too many characters at the same time because it's kind of a ensemble story. I'm gonna have to kick my cat out again. He's being naughty. I'll give it a minute though. So in the previous chapter 2, I was introducing like 10 characters at the same time. Give me a second here. The Fables of Life. Yes, do you want to say hi? Say hi. Hi, that's Echo. Okay, go play. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm here. Hello. I'm back. He's such a naughty cat. Okay, anyway. As I was saying, yeah, I was introducing like 10 characters at the same time, and it felt a little like, you know the beginning of Suicide Squad where they're like, this is this person, flash the words up on the screen, and this is their little spiel of what they are so you can get to know the character. So that was corny. So then I kind of reworked. So chapter 1 we meet 2 main characters. Chapter 2 we meet 2 more. Chapter 3 we're going to meet 3 more. Still a lot of characters, but at least it's more natural, and it is more a natural way of being introduced to them because as you can see, there's a different perspective character per chapter. And like, it makes a lot more sense for those characters to move through the story and encounter people along the way. One at a time, or two at a time, or three at a time. So yes. So I'm really, like, a lot of this I moved to pen and paper to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. So it's kind of half story, half notes. And yeah, I'm just going to be writing them out and like expanding on them. So there's not going to be a ton of talking. It's just going to be some non-copyrighted fantasy music in the background and a bit of writing. And if you want to chat, we can chat. If you want to watch this after the live is done, I'm going to make it available and then you can chat with me there. And that's that. Okay, let's go for it. Chapter 3. Her name right now in the constructed language of this world is Shifu, which I feel like sounds kind of goofy. Her older name that I had for her in an older version of these stories was Septrinin. I don't know. It kind of sounds better to me, even though it's just like a made-up word. I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those things where, like, I never know how exactly to go about it in terms of in-story, in-world consistency. I feel like there's this tension with me between coming up with names that kind of make sense to people reading them, especially English language speakers, obviously, because it's in English, or ones that are consistent with the world building. Do you know what I mean? So that's a thing. What do you think? Which do you prefer? You know, you can kind of look at some of these ones like Game of Thrones or Wheel of Time or whatever, that have been adapted for screen, so they have a bigger audience, and like they have some characters where they have like these really obscure names that are obviously based on the constructed languages, but then they have like Bran and like Rand and like ones where we have those names in English, so what? I don't know. Okay, so let's start with the inciting incident as I wrote it down here. Cannot type today, apparently. You can see what I mean about the names. See, that's the thing, like, this first name is in the constructed language, but then these other ones are just made up from when I was like, I don't know, 15, 20 years old, ages ago, right? And they just seem to sound better or something. Right with me. Oh, I just realized I can't see my other chat window. Yes, Kitty, I know. You feel left out. He is so needy. But I know he's gonna come in here and like bite at cords and stuff. It's not gonna be good. So we'll just have to listen to him meow for a couple minutes. And then he'll get over it and he'll go away and he'll go play with our other cat. And it will be fine. This is what I was trying to figure out the other day when I was writing these notes. Like they're going to a person's office, but I don't want to call it office. It's very like modern. I was trying to think of like the fantasy-esque term for it. I was like study. There's another word though. I can't remember it. It'll come to me eventually. We'll just put that in as like a placeholder. Oops. I'm gonna blame it on the nails. It's always different typing, bare-fingered or nailed. You know what I mean. Yes, I know. They are surprised. Oh. Right, there's 3 of them. Hello, Anna. I got a viewer. I'm not sure why I have like this panel where it says like, oh, I have this many viewers, and it's not saying I have any viewers, but I obviously have a viewer. This is a write with me, so we can chat, but not much is gonna go on other than that. It says it's offline. This is weird. Well, that's a problem. Oh, now it's good. Okay, cool. Okay, good. That would have been frustrating. That would have been so frustrating for me. Cool. No wonder nothing's happening. So, Anna May, my viewer, I'm doing a write with me of this draft of this fantasy novel. Oh, yum, ramen. So it's not going to be a lot of like talking out loud other than me explaining what the heck I'm doing. Basically, I'm working from these notes that I made for the 3rd chapter, trying to figure out what I'm going to write in this chapter and expand upon it a little bit. It's like outline / notes. Yeah, isn't it? I'm happy. This is like the novel. Book 1. First draft. Get it done. What kind of flavor ramen? That's what I want to know. And I love ramen. I did not have it for lunch, but I was tempted to have it for lunch. Because I had all these veggies and stuff. I had like a rice bowl instead. Is it dinner there for you? Or I guess just late lunch. Okay, anyway. I'll chat with you in a second. I'll get back to this. I mean, you can read it if you want on the screen, or do you want me to just explain it to you? I guess I'm blocking some of it here, aren't I? How do I... There we go. So, yeah, I was saying before you arrived that the thing that I'm trying to do right now is figure out how to introduce all these characters. It's like in an ensemble cast, I guess you could say. So there's like 5 main characters and like 5 secondary characters in their like friend group. So that's a lot of characters, and in the first draft that I had, they all kind of show up at the same place at the same time in the first chapter, which is crazy, because then it's kind of like Suicide Squad at the beginning, where it's like, you know, their name flashes on screen and it's like a little blurb about them, and that's it. You gotta move on quick. So that's weird and awkward. I didn't like that. So then I broke it down where chapter 1 is like just 2 characters, and then chapter 2 they meet 2 more characters, and then this is the 3rd chapter, they meet 3 more characters, and it's more natural way from their perspective, like moving through their world and just encountering people rather than being like, bah, here's all the characters all at once. So yeah, basically they got to this place. You can see the tentative name is Dragon Academy, which is a little silly, I guess. So that's gonna probably change. But it's basically like I don't want it to be dark academia, but I feel like it might fall under that. Like, I'd rather it be light academia, but I feel like that might be hard to pull off. We'll see. It's less of a touchstone for people, but it's also higher post-secondary level academia, so university level, college level, rather than high school. Because I feel like a lot of these ones that I've seen and I've read and I've come across are like, you know, high school teenager level. But I find that kind of boring, to be honest. Maybe I just have like a better recollection of like having a better time in university, so that's what I want to write about. And I want to write about that age group rather than 15-year-olds, because that's played out. Yes, I know. Can you hear the cat? Anyway, so they arrive, they meet up with a couple people. They're like told that this is their decision point. He wants to be in the office, but he'll just come up here and like chomp on cords and get distracting. And now they have to go to the Chancellor's study. Oh, hi, Elfie. Kitties across the internet. They have to go to the Chancellor's study to like meet her. So she's like the head of the university, because they're a special case where they just showed up. They didn't like apply or anything. And then they're surprised by 3 more people in the office already. Office is like too modern a term, but you know what I mean. And they're gonna meet those people. So that's what I'm writing out. I'm gonna see if I can expand this at all, but we'll see. It's like random notes. So that's what I'm gonna do. You make your ramen. I'm gonna be typing, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay? Oops. And I got some fantasy music in the background for your enjoyment. I was thinking, I was thinking about going live earlier today when I was like doing my makeup and stuff, but then I was like, no, that's boring. Also, I was trying to figure out how to do it on Instagram and apparently on like YouTube. So like I've done one of these lives before, but I think it did save. And it actually got like this little flag being like, copyright music, but then it was like, oh, the person made this copyright available, and I was like, yeah, I did that on purpose. so that it didn't get flagged or like taken down or whatever. But it's funny because Instagram, yeah, the music's pretty cool, eh? Instagram, like, they'll just boot you off of live even if you're playing copyright-free music in the background, apparently. I did a little research on it this morning, and I was like, I don't want to risk that. That's really annoying. I know, right? Meta. Jeez. Anyway, so we're going to stick with this, and we're going to do the on-brand activity, which is writing. Oh, well, are you people ever going to read this? Probably. Okay. I'll take out the spoiler, and I'll leave it in the notes. Okay. Oops. Why am I getting it? Oh, well, whatever. Grammarly, so picky. From Long Travels. Also, I don't know about this track. That's fine. And if this is boring for you, you don't have to watch it the whole time. I understand, I'm just writing. I just thought maybe for some people out there it might be interesting to see the process. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Wow, it's already been 25 minutes. That's crazy. My plan is to do this in an hour. So, like, we'll see if we can get through these notes. Then we'll see where we are. Ba 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 ba. One page done. Oh, it's 3 pages long. Yeah, I think I go into more detail about the last half of the scene here. Okay, here's the problem I'm having with this. Is like... So, this group of protagonists come to this academy through different ways. And they didn't know it existed before, essentially. They just, like, were like, this is my quest, I gotta go to this place, and they show up and they're like, oh, it's a university. So, I feel like I need some sort of story mechanic for them to be like, yeah, this is what we were looking for. Like, this is the end goal of the journeys that we took in the previous books, which are also in draft form and need a lot of work. So, like, right now, the Chancellor's like, oh, yeah, you know, you're welcome to just figure it out. Stay here and figure out if this is what you needed. But that's kind of, like, weak. It's a weak crisis. It's a weak crisis. She says it's not a coincidence. Because the thing is, spoiler alerts, she already knows that they're supposed to be there and, like, they came here for reasons, and she knows the reasons. So, like, how do I do that? That's, like, the thing I need to figure out. Maybe it's like, you've traveled far, you need to rest. And then overnight dreams, visions, magic, something cool. I'll have to think about that. I'll have to think about that a bit more. Okay, so the perspective character for this chapter, she's thinking about how she's like this is where they learn to wield magic. Do they know that yet? I guess that would be part of the spiel. So like she's like, oh well, I've done magic by accident in the past, so maybe this is where I need to be. See, this is a character vocalizing the question I have. And what if we decide this is not where we want to be? Oh, hello. Yes, there are dragons. I've been neglecting the other chat because this is also going on Twitch. I did not mean to put a question mark there. Okay, awesome. So the sound is good. There are talking dragons, which is like a weird thing, but it's always been a part of this world that I made up, so there we go. Back at it. Oops. Yeah, so basically, the dragons run the academy, which is why it's called Dragon Academy. That might not be the name I end up with because it's kind of generic, but yeah. It's kind of a weird thing, but it's also just the way I imagined it, so... I mean, it's fantasy, right? So all options are open. At least I think so. Okay, let's keep going with this outline. Choose. Why not talking dragons, right? I think it's cool. If I do say so myself. Choose. Okay, so one of the characters has traveled all this way. Like, that's the thing, it's like, you have to choose now! Well, my choice is based on while I'm here, which is why I'm kind of like, maybe it's more, oh, you don't have to choose this second, just like stay the night and recharge your batteries type of deal. Some lady made millions on a story about a werewolf and vampire fighting over a random teenage girl. That's a good point. Anything is possible in fantasy, including dragons that talk. So, every other animal in this world that I made up, called Amorbia, they can also communicate, but it's like they communicate more like telepathically. Which is not a new mechanic, but then like the dragons actually use their mouths and actually speak. And walk around. So, yeah, I guess they're slightly anthropomorphic. Yeah. Cool. But, like, they run the academy, but the faculty, like, not all of them are dragons. So, I mean, on that, I can show you all of the crazy notes that I've made for this draft. Like, this is the kind of just, like, the bare bones outline, but also, like, figuring out, you know, the time of year, the time of the school year, the dorms. This is just, so this spreadsheet has the most notes. It's for this first one. So it's the dorm they're in that year, and every year they're going to be in a different dorm. So there's 4 of them for the 4 years. And then there's like every character and their like majors and minors and all that stuff. So many notes. And then time, just like the seasons and the terms and when all that happens, and then like the names. They have an 8-day week, which is based on, this is very involved. It's very involved. But like I've thought about like the size of the planet and how the seasons and time would work. So like they can't have a 7-day week. They have to have an 8-day week for it all to make sense and divide up equally. So there's that. So many thoughts. And then the actual like main characters, their characterization, their motto, which I don't have for most of them, their powers, their love interest / best friend. I know, so much world building. So much world building. And then they have these mentors, which are faculty, which obviously that's going to come in later. So faculty mentors and their characterization, and then their professors for this first term. I don't think I did this for every year. I don't really remember. Or if it's just like the professors in that like department, whatever their major is. And then faculty, so like Pip is in that scene that you saw the notes for. And what she does in the school. So the faculty section, those are all dragons. But these faculty mentors, like Dryad, Shapeshifter, Sun Elf, so like they come from everywhere. And I think that's it for that. Yes. Okay. And then minor characters, which is kind of just ad hoc as I'm going. So like the first scene was in like a different part of the world, so I had to add some more characters in, and this is just so I don't like forget about them. And then kind of the political state of the world when we start the story and, you know, the structures and who, what, where, etc. Which I actually, this morning, I stumbled on this really old notebook that had like, so there's an emperor, and it had like this huge chart of like all of his advisors and stuff, like his whole court. Like I was just like, wow, I didn't know this was a thing anymore. So I have to go and like look at that, and I don't need to incorporate it in this part of the story, but like other parts of the story, definitely. So all that being said, I don't know why I was talking about that. Oh, I just wanted to show you like, it's dragons, but it's not all dragons. It's not like every dragon is faculty and every faculty is a dragon sort of thing, if you know what I mean. Okay, so choose. They traveled all this way. Maverial follows whatever Euphaya wants to do. Yup. I'm not sure what you're saying yup to. I'm just double checking. Cool. Everything's good. Kristoff already decided. Why did he already decide? I don't know. Something that happened in chapter 2, I guess. Shifu thinks about the ruined life, small as it was. Oh, to understanding the world dynamics. Cool. Thanks, Anna. You're so awesome and supportive. There we go. But before she can reply, Fav, the elders bade me come here. I don't know why. Or they wanted me to get an education. There's also like a lot of stuff going on where there's like a lot of secrets not yet revealed, so it's like figuring out the story dynamics of like why they would be here and why they're gonna stay without like revealing too much. So that's that. Oops. I can spell. Something in your aura. Oops. Oh yeah, when I was writing these notes, I realized that Nocturnia. So the Chancellor, like I'm figuring out that she's gonna be the faculty advisor for this dude, Favola. Spoiler alert, there's like notes in there that are very spoilery. But because he's like a secondary character in this main cast, I didn't really write that in this specific spreadsheet. Like, I just have like the main five, called them the main five, and then like their mentors. So maybe I'll just note that here. Because he's special. What software am I using? For what? For the live stream or the writing? I'm using Google, the Googs, the Google Docs and the Google Sheets. But for the streaming, I'm using something called OBS, which is pretty standard. Oh, the writing, yeah. Yeah, this is just Google Docs and then Google Sheets. They're simple. They're easy. Google Drive, if you do run out of room, which is also your Gmail, right? So if you run out of room, they want you to pay. So there's that. But I also, if that happens, I just like download it as a doc or a Excel sheet, whatever, and then continue on, and it's fine. It's just like, I find Excel is like, there's too many options. Like, it's awesome for like, you know, finances or accounting, etc., business purposes. But then for something like this, it's like, I just need a really basic spreadsheet to just like map out my thinking. I don't need like macros and stuff, you know. She has nothing to return to. Yes. Yeah. Microsoft, I don't need all that. And then resolution. So it, like, I feel like I'm gonna change this so it's more like stay the night and think about it later. And then this whole thing about like Shifu understanding that she has nothing in her life to return to, so she's gonna stay at the academy, like that can be in a future scene. Maybe even talking to like some of the other characters, you know? I'm just thinking out loud. Oh, why is this bold? So it's basically like they're gonna have a faculty advisor, but I feel like I want to use different words than, because I'm really gonna base this off of my own undergrad experience, but you know, I don't want to use advisor. I think like mentor is a little bit more fantastical, I think, anyway. Then she tells them about the dorms and dining halls. And dining hall, because this takes place in the evening, so like they need to eat and they need to sleep like now. Do they get a tour? Yeah, like, I feel like that would be awesome, and I feel like at the beginning of this scene, like, they're just coming from, like, their like, magical entrance to the academy, and they have to, like, walk through part of it to get to this, like, chancellor office, whatever. So that can be kind of the mechanic of, like, getting some of the tour, sort of. But then, like, I think I want to end this scene, and then in the next scene, they'll, like, discover, like, they'll get more of a tour of, like, the dorm and the dining halls, and in that way, they'll, like, meet a few other characters, and maybe then they'll, like, talk about, like, are you going to stay? I didn't know this was here, or whatever, you know? So that'll make more sense, I think. Yeah. I have to figure out whose perspective that chapter will be, though. I guess one of this group, right? Maybe one of the ones that they met in this scene. Yep, okay, that's the end of my notes. And that's kind of like the end of the chapter. Yeah, I think that's it. Like, the Chancellor will be like, yeah, cool, awesome, stay the night, get out of here. End of chapter. Then the next chapter, again, like, I have this whole outline, but this is, like, older and it doesn't work anymore. It's my story, I do what I want. Mm-hmm. I will, thanks. But I also, like, I really want this to be a thing, if that makes sense. Like, in the past, I've just kind of, like, messed around with all this material and just, like, written stuff that didn't really make sense as a story. So I'm trying to make it make sense. Oops. So I think it's going to be her perspective. How much time do we have left here? 7 minutes, oh my goodness. But basically, what? I just have YouTube telling me to, like, learn more about chat. Okay, whatever. How do we start this off? What did I call the first year dorm? I can't remember. Emerald Grove Hall. Yeah. I feel like I just had one dining hall. Did I? Gosh, I don't remember. It's been a while since I made all these notes. And I don't have the one that has the buildings. So there's a central quad, 4 dorms, library. There's a grand assembly hall. There's like a faculty offices building. There's like departmental buildings. There's like outdoor combat, indoor combat spaces, magical labs and shit. Like, there's all that. So I think there's like cafes. There's like a tavern. I think it's only one dining hall that I made up. I think. So it's not, like, I'm trying to decide whether it's like when we went to university and every dorm had their dining hall. I feel like it's going to be less dramatic that way. Like, I think I want to throw them all together. You know what I mean? I think. And then, like, you can go to the main dining hall, or you can go to, like, the cafe or the tavern. Well, the tavern is only for 4th years. That's the whole thing, too. Or you can just, like, eat on the main quad or whatever. You know what I mean? I was actually thinking of Carlton, which I know, like, that's insane. But Carlton has some crazy stuff. So, like, the tunnels, that's a big thing. So I wanted them to have tunnels. Yeah, undergrad. They also had the tunnels hooked up to this pub in the basement of one of the dorms, which doesn't exist anymore, but it did at the time I was there. They had this thing, this big hall called the Egg. So, like, I'm doing, like, the Grand Assembly Hall in this building called, like, the Dragon's Egg. So yeah, it's more like that, right? Turn their train into a flying train. Oh, I didn't think of that. A flying train. I wasn't gonna do trains in this world because it's, like, very, like, medieval fantasy. But that's something to think about. That is something to think about. So, like, yeah, it's a little too Harry Potter-ish, I guess. Like, Harry Potter's just is, like, quasi-modern, and this is not at all. It's much more, like, medieval fantasy, high fantasy. And then they have a village nearby, but, like, it's not a big town, and it's, like, the only settlement for ages, because it is supposed to be, like, this hidden, arcane place. Futuristic medieval. I don't know. I don't want to do, like, steampunk, actually. Like, it's never been that. It's been much more, like, high fantasy. Like, that is a cool take on it, but no, it's very much magic and not so much science. Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, that's awesome to brainstorm and get some ideas going. But I actually said this would only be an hour, and we're, like, a minute from the hour. So, I guess that's it for today. Thank you for joining the chat and discussing my Talking Dragons with me. Yeah. Are you retracting messages, or is YouTube doing that? Just before we go. Because that's weird. Okay, whatever. I guess we'll just, whatever. We'll think about that later. We'll talk about that later. In the meantime, yeah, I guess we can say goodbye. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. That's fine, as long as it's not, I didn't want it to be automated. That would be weird. Okay, cool. Yeah. I guess I'll see you guys later. Bye!